You know that feeling when you're trying to guide someone, help them reach their potential. Maybe it's your kid working through something tough, or even a team member at work stepping into a new role.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding, but it can feel like a lot of pressure too, can't it? You really want to get it right.
Exactly. So, what if I told you some really effective strategies for leadership, for
Mm.
motivation at work, don't come from the usual management books, but actually from, well, from parenting?
It sounds surprising, but that's exactly the fascinating idea we're digging into today. We're looking at your shared sources, specifically some great excerpts from Nurturing Leadership, Learning from Parenting.
Right.
And the goal is really to pull out those parallels, those practical links between, raising kids and leading teams effectively. We'll be hitting on communication, motivation, feedback, all that good stuff.
Yeah, looking at it through this maybe unexpected lens. And just to be clear, we're not suggesting turning your office into a preschool.
No, definitely not. It's more about finding those genuinely useful insights, those fresh approaches
Yeah.
to help your team really grow and, feel motivated.
Like getting some practical leadership tips without feeling like you're in a stuffy seminar. Okay, so let's dive in. First up, communication for motivation.
Hmm.
One thing that really struck me from the sources was how just like imposing your own expectations on kids. It just doesn't work for genuine engagement.
Right. The example was forcing a kid who loves art to play sports.
Yeah, it just leads to frustration, usually for everyone involved.
And you see that exact dynamic in the workplace sometimes, don't you? We assume, maybe, that everyone's motivated by the same carrot, a promotion, maybe a bonus.
But they're not.
No, it's so individual. For one person on your team, learning a new skill might be the biggest driver. For someone else, it's feeling like they're contributing to something meaningful as a team. Understanding that difference is, well, foundational.
Totally agree. And it's not just what you say, is it? The sources talked about nonverbal stuff too.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Like active listening, nodding along, even just a genuine smile, how much that makes a child feel, well, valued.
And do we always think about that with our teams, our own body language?
Probably not enough. It's subtle.
It really is, but think about the psychology. Those positive nonverbal cues from a manager, they can create psychological safety. People feel more comfortable sharing ideas, maybe taking a small risk if they feel genuinely heard.
Makes sense. Another thing that jumped out was giving choices.
Ah, yes.
Instead of just telling a kid, do your math homework now, offering a choice like, hey, math or science first, it seems to make them more willing to just get started, gives them some control.
Which really makes you wonder, as a leader, how often do we really give our teams meaningful choices? Autonomy.
Right, even in how they approach a task.
Exactly. Giving options there can build such a stronger sense of ownership. And that fuels motivation, doesn't it?
Definitely. And building on that, the parenting angle talks about setting kids up for early success, like learning a really simple song on the piano.
Hmm. That little win.
Yeah, that small win builds the confidence to try something harder next time.
It really speaks to the importance of setting up, quick wins for our team members, especially if they're new to something. Break down the big project.
Into smaller steps.
Yeah, smaller, achievable milestones. They get that positive feeling of accomplishment early, and it builds that belief, that self-efficacy. Okay, I can do this.
Okay, let's talk feedback. The sources were big on being specific.
Oh, absolutely.
So instead of just, good job on a drawing, it's, wow, I really like how you used so many colors here and filled the whole page, you know, pointing out the effort.
And that lines up perfectly with what works in management feedback, too.
Yeah,
Generic praise feels nice, maybe, but it doesn't really land the same way.
doesn't stick.
No. When you pinpoint exactly what someone did well and why it worked,
Yeah.
that's much more likely to be repeated. It's actionable.
And what about when things go wrong? Mistakes happen.
Yep.
The parenting approach seems to be about framing them as learning chances, not like crimes. Instead of freaking out over spilled juice, it's, oops, okay, let's clean it up. How can we be more careful next time?
That's such a crucial mindset shift for leaders. Seeing errors as just data. Data for improvement, not
Mhm.
something to assign blame for.
Right. It builds that safety net.
Exactly. People feel safer taking calculated risks, trying new things, if they know a mistake won't lead to punishment, but to a conversation about learning.
I also liked the idea of sharing goals collaboratively. Like when a parent and kid decide together to read 5 books this month, the kid feels more ownership.
Yes. Involving your team and setting the goals, not just handing them down. It makes a huge difference in commitment. People are just more motivated to achieve something they helped create.
Makes sense. And it's not always about the task itself, right? Sharing emotions.
The human side.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
celebrating the effort at sports day, even if they didn't win. That shared feeling strengthens the connection.
That points straight to empathetic leadership, doesn't it? When
Yeah.
managers can genuinely connect with their team's experiences, the highs and lows, it builds stronger bonds. It builds a more supportive, motivating place to work.
And lastly, on communication, the sources mention the value of just small, regular chats.
The check-ins.
Yeah, those everyday moments that give you a real sense of how someone's doing, what's on their mind.
He really highlights the power of consistent, informal communication. Those regular one-on-ones, even just quick, how's it going?
Yeah.
Chats, they give you invaluable insight. You catch things early, offer support.
Okay, so clear, empathetic communication, fostering ownership. Huge themes there. Let's switch gears a bit to goal setting and sharing, another big area in the sources.
Right. And the absolute baseline seems to be clear, specific goals.
Yeah, not just increase sales, but increase sales by 10% this quarter. Something concrete.
Precisely. Vague goals are just fuzzy. They don't give direction. Specific goals provide that clarity, that measurable target, which is motivating in itself.
But the sources also warned about goals being too ambitious, right? That can actually backfire.
Oh, definitely. Setting the bar impossibly high can just feel defeating. People think, why even bother?
So it's better to focus on realistic steps, like building brand awareness first before expecting huge sales for a new product.
Exactly. Incremental progress. Step-by-step goals let people feel that sense of accomplishment along the way, which builds momentum. That's key for keeping motivation up over the long haul.
And sharing those goals openly. That helps get everyone aligned, working together, like a sports team knowing the game plan.
Yeah, when everyone understands the shared objective, you get that sense of collective purpose. People collaborate more naturally.
But just telling people the goals isn't quite enough, is it? The sources talked about dialogue, asking for input.
Oh, critical. Asking things like, okay, what do you think we need to actually achieve this? Or what obstacles do you foresee?
So it's not just top down.
No. Involving the team in that discussion. It gives you valuable insights, sure, but it also massively increases their buy-in, their commitment to making it happen.
And regularly checking in on progress seems vital too. Those quarterly reviews, maybe more often.
You need those checkpoints. Are we on track? Do we need to adjust? It lets you be proactive, identify challenges early, make course corrections, keeps things focused.
Plus, celebrating the milestones along the way, even the small wins.
Yes. Acknowledging progress keeps morale high. That positive reinforcement helps maintain enthusiasm.
I like the point about connecting the short-term goals to the long-term vision too.
Mm-hmm. Helps people see the why.
Yeah, understanding how this task right now contributes to the bigger picture gives the work more meaning.
Definitely. When you clearly show how individual and team goals ladder up to that larger vision, work feels less like just tasks and more like contributing to something significant.
And feedback loops, like performance reviews, they tie back into these goals, right? Guiding improvement.
Absolutely. Constructive feedback helps people see where they're excelling and where they can develop, all in the context of achieving those shared goals. Helps them hone their contribution.
Transparency seems important too, maybe using shared tools so everyone can see progress.
Yeah, making goal progress visible fosters that sense of shared accountability. People are more likely to chip in and help each other out when they can see the whole picture.
And then after the goal is met or the project is done, taking time to reflect.
The postmortem, yeah. What worked, what didn't, what did we learn?
Capturing those lessons learned.
It's invaluable. Analyzing both successes and failures provides crucial insights for next time. It fuels that continuous improvement cycle for individuals and the whole team.
Okay, this naturally leads into that tricky balance. Rewards and consequences. The sources stress looking beyond just the final result.
Right. Acknowledging the effort, the process, the creativity that went into something.
Like praising the hours a kid spent practicing piano, even if the recital wasn't flawless.
Exactly. It reinforces the value of hard work, of persistence, regardless of the immediate outcome. Fosters more of a growth mindset,
And when consequences are needed, the focus should be on learning, right? Understanding why something happened.
Yes. Not just punitive. Like if a deadline is missed, exploring the reasons, what got in the way, rather than just, why didn't you do this? The goal is to learn and prevent it next time.
And making sure consequences feel fair and proportional, that seems key for trust.
Absolutely. If discipline feels arbitrary or overly harsh, it just creates fear. People shut down. They stop taking risks. It hinders learning. Consequences need to be relevant, make sense for the situation.
But on the flip side, the sources warned about too much praise if it's empty.
Yeah, indiscriminate praise. If everything gets a great job, it loses all meaning.
Right, like participation trophies for just showing up.
Kind of. Praise needs to be genuine, specific, tied to real effort or achievement to actually motivate improvement. Otherwise, it just feels hollow.
Consistency seems important too, having clear rules and expectations, whether at home or work.
Definitely. Clear guidelines help everyone understand the boundaries, know what's expected, reduces confusion, fosters accountability.
And that ties into reinforcement theory, praising the behaviors you want to see more of.
Exactly. Simple things like, thanks, that report was really thorough, that's super helpful. Acknowledging helpful actions makes them more likely to happen again. It's basic, but powerful.
But it's delicate, isn't it? How rewards and punishment shape self-awareness and motivation.
It really is. Handled well, positive reinforcement builds confidence. Handled poorly, consequences can crush it. The key is being thoughtful, focusing on growth, on understanding.
And the sources mention self-reflection for the person giving the feedback, the parent or manager.
So important. Recognizing our own biases, our own frustrations. Are we reacting to the situation or to our own stress? Taking that pause helps ensure feedback is actually constructive.
And tailoring the approach based on experience level. What
Right.
works for a junior team member might not resonate with a senior leader.
You have to adapt. Feedback and guidance need to match the individual's maturity and experience to really land effectively.
So maybe establishing clear expectations up front about both recognition and how shortcomings are handled, like in team agreements.
Yeah, open communication about performance expectations and what happens if they aren't met builds transparency and trust. Everyone knows where they stand.
Which leads perfectly into really understanding what motivates people on your team, because it's not the same for everyone, is it?
Not at all. The sources really hammered this home. Understanding individual values, individual goals, what drives one person do. Maybe it's personal growth. Learning new skills could be totally different for someone else who might value team contribution above all.
Recognizing it's not one size fits all, that's the first step.
Absolutely. Figuring out what actually brings satisfaction to each person, what environment lets them do their best work, that varies so much.
And communication is how you figure that out, right? Really talking to people.
Yes, those regular open conversations, asking questions, listening. Is it creative freedom they crave, or do they thrive with more structure? You only find out by asking.
The sources also talked about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Right. The difference between doing something because you genuinely enjoy the task itself that's intrinsic versus doing it for an external reward, like a bonus that's extrinsic.
And knowing which is dominant for someone helps you tailor how you motivate them.
Exactly. If someone loves the challenge itself, piling on external rewards might not be the most effective strategy, maybe even counterproductive sometimes. Understanding that balance is key.
And leadership style makes a difference here too. Giving autonomy, letting people make decisions.
Huge impact. Empowering people fosters that sense of ownership we keep coming back to. It increases their responsibility, their enthusiasm.
And regular constructive feedback is crucial for maintaining motivation, isn't it?
Constantly. People need to know how they're doing, where they can improve. Consistent, actionable feedback shows you're invested in their development. It keeps them engaged.
Something really relevant now is understanding working styles. Flexible hours versus being in the office.
Big one. Recognizing those preferences and accommodating them where you realistically can makes a huge difference to well-being, and therefore motivation and productivity.
Letting team members have input on their own goals too.
Yeah, we touched on that earlier. When people help define their own objectives, their commitment level just goes way up. They're invested.
And the team environment itself. Positive relationships.
Massively influential. A supportive, collaborative team. That fosters belonging, encourages people to bring their best. Good relationships are huge for morale.
And the overall workplace culture matters too. Does it feel open? Are opinions actually valued?
That culture is the foundation. If people feel heard, respected, valued, they're far more likely to be motivated to go the extra mile.
So ultimately, it comes down to a really personalized approach, doesn't it?
It has to be. Understanding each person's unique strengths, their values, what they aspire to, that's how you unlock their potential and keep them truly motivated.
Okay, let's talk about the power of positive feedback specifically. The sources really drove home that specificity matters.
Night and day difference.
Like saying, your attention to detail in that client report was remarkable, you caught those key errors, versus just, good report.
Exactly. That specificity proves you actually read it, you noticed the effort, It makes the feedback feel earned, genuine, and crucially, it tells them exactly what to keep doing.
Because it reinforces those desired behaviors, right? That's reinforcement theory again.
Precisely. Acknowledge and appreciate the positive actions, and you'll likely see more of them. It shapes habits, performance.
And it boosts self-efficacy too, that belief in yourself.
Definitely. When you combine positive feedback with expressing trust, like a manager saying, I've got total confidence you can lead this project.
That's powerful.
It really is. It instills that self-belief, empowers people to tackle challenges with more assurance.
And positive feedback isn't just individual, is it? It lifts the whole team's morale.
Oh, for sure. Regularly sharing successes, acknowledging team wins, celebrating contributions, it creates a much more positive, collaborative vibe for everyone.
Interesting point from the sources, that this can even help develop future leaders.
Makes sense, doesn't it? People who feel valued, competent, encouraged, they're more likely to step up, take initiative, embrace those leadership opportunities when they come along.
And just acknowledging effort seems so fundamental, whether it's school or work, just saying, wow, I can see how much hard work went into this presentation.
Yes, recognizing the process, the investment, not just the outcome. It validates dedication, encourages perseverance, especially when things are tough.
And again, specificity helps people understand exactly what worked well, gives them a clear path forward.
Right. Detailed positive feedback isn't just nice, it's instructive. It clarifies what success looks like in concrete terms.
It also strengthens trust in the relationship, doesn't it? Manager, team member, parent, child.
Absolutely. Genuine, specific praise builds that bond of mutual respect and trust. It shows you see them, you value their contribution.
But the caution was avoid superficial praise.
Yeah, insincere compliments. People see right through that. It can actually damage your credibility, make people trust your feedback less in the future.
So even if the outcome isn't perfect, you can still give genuine feedback.
Yes, acknowledge the effort, point out what did work well, and then offer constructive guidance for improvement. That keeps motivation up while still fostering growth.
And positive feedback is maybe extra important during tough times.
Definitely. When stress is high, deadlines are looming, hearing something like, I really appreciate you putting in the extra hours on this, can provide that much-needed boost, that validation.
So ultimately, it strengthens relationships through acknowledgement, through gratitude.
Simple things, right? A sincere thank you for your hard work can make a big difference in how supported and connected people feel.
Okay, let's shift to the idea of supporting subordinates, kind of like parents support children. Encouragement seems key, especially with new challenges.
Yeah, this looks tough, but I know you can learn it approach. Offering reassurance when someone's stepping outside their comfort zone.
And focusing on learning from mistakes, not dwelling on them. Okay, what happened? What can we learn for next time?
That fosters that growth mindset again. It frames setbacks not as failures, but as valuable experiences, chances to develop new skills.
And just expressing belief in their ability. I believe you can figure this out.
Incredibly motivating. That vote of confidence from a leader can really boost someone's self-assurance, make them more willing to tackle hard problems.
Creating an open environment seems crucial too, where people feel safe to share ideas, raise concerns.
Yeah, that don't hesitate to come to me if you're stuck or have questions message. It builds trust, encourages open communication, which is vital for problem solving.
And showing consistent support, thinking about their long-term growth, not just the current task.
Yes, suggesting training, tracking their progress over time. It shows you're genuinely invested in their career, not just using them for short-term output.
A manager's belief really can impact an employee's confidence, can't it?
Profoundly. Hearing, I know you'll do great in this new role, can give someone the push they need to step up and succeed.
And providing real assistance during stressful times, not just words, but action.
Like, okay, let's look at your workload together. Can we reprioritize anything to ease the pressure? That kind of practical support prevents overwhelm, shows you've got their back.
Inspiring hope about the future, too. Painting a picture of possibilities.
Yeah, helping them see their potential career path within the organization. It fosters loyalty, keeps people engaged for the long run.
And taking concrete steps, suggesting specific training, making introductions that shows tangible support.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Yeah.
Providing actual resources and opportunities demonstrates a real commitment to their development.
And it all comes back to those daily interactions, too, those informal how's it going moments.
They build connection. They show you care about them as people, not just employees. Creates a much more supportive atmosphere overall.
Okay, let's tackle delegation. Effective delegation. It seems to start with matching a task to the person's current abilities.
Right. You want to challenge them, help them grow, but not throw them in so far over their head that they just drown. Finding that sweet spot is key.
And explicitly communicating your confidence helps. I'm confident you can handle this.
Absolutely. Expressing that trust is empowering. It
Okay.
boosts their self-esteem, makes them want to take ownership.
Clear expectations are obviously vital. Goals, deadlines, how progress will be tracked.
Non-negotiable. Everyone needs to know exactly what success looks like and how it'll be measured. Clarity prevents confusion and frustration down the line.
And resisting the urge to micromanage.
Oh, the classic struggle. But you have to give people space. Let them figure things out, use their own initiative. That's how they learn and develop autonomy.
But you still offer support, right? Just without taking over.
Exactly. Be available, offer guidance, let's brainstorm if you hit a snag, but let them drive. You're the guide on the side, not the one doing the work for them.
Dividing responsibilities clearly within a team also helps.
Yeah, so everyone knows their piece of the puzzle, how their work contributes to the overall goal, makes individual impact clearer.
And framing setbacks as learning opportunities, not failures.
Back to that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't work as planned. What can we learn from this? It reduces fear, encourages sensible risk-taking.
Because delegation itself is a huge growth opportunity, isn't it?
Absolutely. Taking on new challenges and new responsibilities. That's how people develop leadership skills, stretch themselves.
And thinking about individual strengths when you assign tasks seems smart.
Matches the right person to the right job, optimizes their chance of success, and the team's overall effectiveness.
And the sources suggested delegation is often gradual.
Yeah, build trust over time. Start with smaller tasks, then incrementally increase responsibility as they demonstrate competence and reliability. It's a process.
Okay, building on that, let's talk about respecting subordinates' independence. Giving them space seems fundamental.
Just letting them think, letting them act independently within their assigned work, trusting their expertise and their methods.
And offering constructive feedback with suggestions, not just criticism.
Right. This is good. Maybe consider adding X to make it even stronger. It's respectful, empowering, helps them improve without feeling attacked.
Involving them in setting their own goals, too.
Asking, what do you want to achieve with this? How do you see yourself getting there? Gives them voice, increases their commitment, respects their perspective.
And delegating significant roles and then genuinely trusting them to manage it.
That demonstrates real confidence in their abilities. It shows you believe in their judgment.
Treating mistakes as learning chances, again. Discussing the why and brainstorming improvements together.
It encourages that culture of growth, where errors aren't hidden, but are seen as opportunities to get better collectively.
Creating chances for them to bring their own ideas forward. Brainstorming sessions.
Makes people feel valued, respected for their intellect and creativity, fosters innovation.
And explicitly saying, I trust you on this. I know you'll do a great job.
That direct expression of confidence, it's a powerful motivator, really boosts self-belief.
Recognizing and rewarding effort and results.
Shows appreciation, reinforces positive behaviors, validates their contributions.
Giving them actual decision-making authority over parts of their work.
That's real independence.
Yeah.
It acknowledges their expertise, gives them control and ownership,
And managers leading by example. Being proactive, taking calculated risks themselves.
sets the tone. If leaders demonstrate independence and initiative, it encourages the team to do the same.
Okay, now teaching the value of challenges, like parents pushing kids gently outside their comfort zone.
Yeah, encouraging new experiences, pushing limits, even if it means struggling a bit initially, that's where growth happens.
And emphasizing the process, the effort, not just the result. I saw how hard you worked on learning that.
Exactly. Valuing the dedication, the learning curve itself. It builds persistence, reinforces that effort matters.
And managers modeling this, sharing their own struggles and how they overcame challenges.
Very influential. Makes challenges seem less scary, more normal. Inspires others to adopt that resilient mindset.
Encouraging people to face challenges without being terrified of failing.
Reframing failure. It's okay if it's not perfect first try. That's how we learn. Creates that psychological safety needed for growth.
Highlighting the accomplishment felt after overcoming something hard, reminding them of past successes.
Remember when you tackled X? You've got the skills for this too. Builds confidence by recalling past resilience.
Teaching that success takes time and effort. Stick with it, even if results aren't immediate.
Manages expectations, builds grit. Emphasizes perseverance, that mastery takes dedication.
Encouraging people to step into new environments. cross-functional teams, maybe?
Broadens perspectives, fosters new skills, leads to personal growth. Trying new things, even if a bit scary, is valuable.
And instilling responsibility and accountability for the challenges they take on.
Ownership is key. Being accountable for outcomes, good or bad, is crucial for learning through challenges.
Providing support, but not taking over. Asking guiding questions.
What resources might help you solve this? Empowering them to find their own solutions, build self-reliance, problem-solving skills,
And maybe setting realistic initial goals for big challenges.
makes them less daunting, provides chances for early wins, builds confidence to keep going.
All right, finally, let's talk about turning mistakes into growth opportunities. Starts with that perspective shift, right?
Totally. Seeing mistakes not as failures to be hidden, but as valuable intel, as learning moments.
Using questions to unpack mistakes together. What factors led to this?
Yeah, collaborative analysis, not blame. Fosters shared understanding, gets to the root cause.
And managers needing a tolerant attitude. Okay, let's learn from this together.
Creates that psychological safety. Makes people willing to be open about what happened, which is essential for learning.
Turning individual mistakes into team learning. What can we all take away from this?
Prevents the same mistake from happening again elsewhere. Builds collective knowledge, fosters team improvement.
Following up with concrete suggestions. Next time, maybe try this approach.
Provides clear direction, practical support for doing better in the future. Turns the learning into action.
Reacting calmly is key too, isn't it? Not emotionally.
Essential. A calm, rational response allows for objective discussion, maximizes the learning potential.
Encouraging self-reflection. What would you do differently?
Helps individuals internalize the lesson, take ownership of their growth, build self-awareness.
And creating a culture where mistakes are shared openly, like lessons learned sessions.
Normalizes mistakes as part of the process, fosters transparency, continuous learning across the whole organization.
Providing reassurance helps too. Everyone makes mistakes. It's normal.
Reduces anxiety and fear, encourages that resilient, growth-oriented mindset.
And it all comes down to that long-term learning mindset, doesn't it?
Viewing every mistake not as a setback, but as a stepping stone, fuel for continuous improvement over the long haul.
So, wrapping this all up, it's really striking, isn't it? How many clear parallels there are between, well, nurturing a child's growth and leading a team effectively.
It really is.
Yeah.
We've seen how understanding individuals, giving specific feedback, fostering autonomy, focusing long-term, they're all interconnected. They profoundly shape communication, motivation, support.
Yeah, the sources really suggest that effective leadership at its core isn't just about tasks and targets. It's fundamentally about fostering human potential.
Exactly. And by thoughtfully applying these kinds of nurturing principles, you really can cultivate a team that's more engaged, more motivated, and ultimately, yeah, more successful.
So for you listening, maybe take a second now. Think about one or two specific things from our chat today that really clicked for you.
Mm-hmm.
How could you maybe try integrating that idea into how you interact with your team this week? Could you practice more active listening? Give more specific, effort-based praise? Find a chance to delegate with more trust.
Just one small change to start. And as you think about that, here's a final thought to leave you with. If these powerful leadership lessons are rooted in something as fundamental as nurturing growth, what other, maybe unexpected areas of life might hold valuable keys to unlocking even more success and collaboration in the way we work?